Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I went about the drafting, cutting and sewing of this beautiful asymmetrical neckline dress with an asymmetrical neckline, long sleeves and also gathered hem. If this sounds like something you're interested in, keep on watching and don't forget to subscribe. With that being said, let's get on with the tutorial. I made use of 3 yards of Ankara fabric and also 2 yards of black crepe fabric. You can substitute the Ankara fabric for vintage. I'll proceed to draw out my patterns on paper. I'll fold my pattern paper into two in order to cut out the asymmetrical neckline. So in order to know how wide you should fold your fabric, just go ahead to divide the largest part of your body. So for my client, it is her hip, and that divided by 4 will just give me how wide I should fold my pattern paper. And I'll just go ahead to fold that. If you'll be adding your stitching allowance to your pattern paper, also go ahead to add your necessary stitching allowance and then use your hand to make sure that the middle is all smoothened up to create a crease line at the middle of the paper. I'll go ahead to mark half an inch from this part of my pattern paper. This is going to serve as my shoulder line. From the tip of the shoulder, I'll come down by the chest line measurement of 8.5, half length of 60 inches, and 8 inches from the half length I'm going to have my hip line. So I'll just go ahead to connect these points together using my straight rule. I will label this line the shoulder, the chest line, the waist and also the hip. So guys, I will divide the shoulder measurements by 2 and mark it at the shoulder line, which is 7. I will also come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant. At the chest line, I'm going to retake these 7 inches from the shoulder right here, and I'll also divide the actual round bust by 4 and also mark it here. I'll connect the point from the 1 inch that we came down by for the shoulder slant all the way to the chest line with a straight rule. Then I'll measure what I have here, divide it into 2 and then come in by half an inch. I will connect these 3 points together to give me my armhole curve. I will divide the actual waist measurement by 4 and mark it, and also do the same thing for the hip line. If you are going to be adding sewing allowance to your paper, you can go ahead to make the extensions that you'll be needing. With that done, I'll make connections from my bust to the waist and then to the hip using my ruler as seen. So guys, at the shoulder line, I will take a neck width of 3.5 inches because I want to be cutting an asymmetrical neckline. If you want to take a round neckline, you can also go ahead to come down by 3.5 inches. This depends on what you want. So I'll connect a straight line like this with my ruler, and I'll just indicate the tip of my neck width. That'll be all for the drafting of the front piece for now, and proceed to cut out our patterns for the back. So guys, having cut out my front piece, I've also gone ahead to notch the tip of the shoulder. Now just go ahead to place my pattern paper on another paper folded in 2 to cut the back piece. So the first thing I went ahead to do was to do 1.25 inches, and I just connected the lines. This is for the zipper allowance, and I'll just go ahead to place the front on it, and I'm just going to cut exactly what I have for the front for that of the back. The only difference is at the zipper area. Having cut out the front and the back bodies, this is what it's looking like. Now I'm just going to go ahead to modify the front piece first. To draft the asymmetric neckline, the first thing I went ahead to do is to divide my chest line measurement by 2, and I marked it at the chest line region, and that gave me 3.5. I also went ahead to divide what I have at the shoulder by 2, and I'll just go ahead to connect these 2 points using my straight rule. Then from the chest line, I'm going to come up by how deep I want the neckline to be. So I came up by 2 inches because I want this neckline to stop at 6.5 inches. I'll proceed to connect a slanted line from the shoulder width all the way to where we want our neckline to stop. So after connecting that, I'll also use the curved part of my ruler to connect the second side of the neckline. That is why it is very important for us to note where the shoulder is going to start from. And after doing this, I will now make an extension all the way to the armhole of it, just like you can see. And that is all for drafting of this neckline. Now at this point, guys, I went ahead to determine how long I want my collar effect to be. So I decided to go with 2.5. And I'll just go ahead to mark this 2.5 all the way through and then connect together this step is not really necessary. So now guys, let's work on the asymmetric effect at the hemline. So just determine which of the sides that you want the shorter part to be and the longer part to be. So for the shorter part, I want it to be here, and I came down by 2.75 inches. And then for the longer side, I just want it to be exactly what I have at the hip line. Now just go ahead to just connect the both sides using the curved part of my ruler, because I don't want it to just be straight. That is all for this part, and I'll just go ahead to cut it out. That will be all for modifying the front piece. Now let's go ahead to modify the back. The first thing I went ahead to do was to make an extension at the waistline in order for me to take in half an inch to avoid zipper bulge. I will then go ahead to bring the front pattern and then place it towards the longer side, and just like this I'll just go ahead to retrace what I have there. Then for the neckline, I went down by 2 inches for the neck depth and then connected it. I also used a straight line to connect this all the way to the zipper allowance, just like I can see. I also flip this over to the other side, and then I'm going to retrace what I have for the shorter part of it. With that done, I'll go ahead to cut out the neckline and also to cut open my zipper area just like this. Then I'll go ahead to open the both of them up and place them like this. I'll fold in that 1.25 inches that we came down by, and then I'll just go ahead to retrace it, making sure that they are both equal. So that is all for modifying the back and the front. Because of the color that we're going to be putting to this, I'll go ahead to cut out this side that has a deeper neck depth. I have cut out my main front piece using my pattern paper, and this is what it's looking like. So towards this little extension I made here, I gave it half an inch. At the neckline, I did not add any stitching allowance. At the armhole, 0.25. At the both sides, 1 inches. And then at the hem, I added half an inch for stitching allowance. The part with the cut out shoulder, I've gone ahead to also cut out its piece on my actual fabric, and it measures half an inch at the top and at the bottom. And then towards the sides, I did not add any stitching allowance, and then the one towards the armhole, I added 0.25 to that. As for the back piece, this is what the boats are looking like. I'll just go ahead to align them and then place my pattern paper on top. You can see that I left half an inch at the shoulder, half an inch at the bottom, and then 1 inch towards the side. For the armhole, I left 0.75 inches. You can decide not to leave any inches for the armhole. The next thing for us to do is to work on that collar effect. So what I went ahead to do initially was to cut out a 3 inches wide band, and I cut this 3 inches all the way through. But upon placement, I noticed that if I place it like this, the one that we have cut out the shoulder from is not going to be well balanced. So I cut out a second piece, and this time the other side is going to be 2 inches wider. So at the end of the day, I have it to be 5 inches and then 3 inches for the second one. This is because so that when we join it later on, we're going to be having 2.5 inches that I want the length of this collar to be initially, and then the other side are going to have about 4.5 inches. So guys, you just go ahead to place and align it just like you can see, and I'll just go ahead to pin this all the way through so that I can be able to use my sewing machine to join these both pieces to become one. So I'm going to be stitching this facing the side that you can see those differences, so that then I'll be able to trim off the excesses. I've already stitched the both of them at this point, and I'll just go ahead to use my scissors to trim off the excess. So guys, I'll just go ahead to align both of them together and then join it with half an inch using my pins, and I'm just going to fold this into two and then check if they balance. So when you only stitch this down when the both shoulders they balance together. So I'll just go ahead to make my stitch now. Having made that stitch, I'm just going to trim off the excess to avoid bulkiness. So that is all for the making of this stylish collar. Now next we'll go ahead to do is to cut out our facings. For this, I just cut out a little piece of fabric and I'll be opening it up and placing them right sides facing each other. Then I'm going to use my chalk to outline and to trace out all the lines that I have here. And then after doing that, from the tip of the neckline overall, I'm going to be marking 2.5 inches all the way through, or 3 inches all the way through. So just go ahead to do this. This is going to give the length of your facing. Then we're going to cut it out. That'll be all for the front. I've also gone ahead to cut out facings for the both back pieces, and now what I'm just going to do is to iron them out with interfacing at the back, and then also to weave the hem. Having gone ahead to add my interfacing and also weaving the edge, this is what I have it looking like. Now the next thing I'll go ahead to do is to place this right sides facing each other with that of my main piece. After doing this, I'm going to go ahead to pin it all through. So we're pinning it so that we don't make mistake when we're stitching on the neckline. Also go ahead to pin the both back pieces right sides facing each other. I'm going to stitch around the neckline and also the zipper allowance. Now guys, as you can see, I've gone ahead to make my stitches all through, and the next thing I'm going ahead to do is to trim off the excess of what I have around the neck area and notch all where it needs to be notched. Then I'm going to turn this over to the right side and then iron it out. Having done all of that, this is how neat it's looking like. Now just go ahead to place the right sides facing each other, and we're going to sew the shoulders down. Having joined the shoulders, this is what it's looking like, and I also went ahead to weave the armhole for neatness. The next thing I just went ahead to do was to flip this to the other side and then work on the zipper area. So for this, first of all, I'm going to be ironing interfacing to this so that our zipper is not going to be bulging at the back. Having iron interfacing to the zipper allowance, this is what I have it looking like. Now the next thing just go ahead to do is for us to first of all determine the length of where we want the zip to be, and then from that point I'm going to mark it and I'm going to stitch it close down. Then after doing it, I'm now going to go ahead to attach my zipper. So guys, having attached my zipper, this is what I have it looking like, very neat. Now the next thing we'll go ahead to do is to work on the sleeves. This depends on which type of sleeve you are going for. So I'm going for a long sleeve with a slit at the edge. If you also like to go with this sleeve, I don't know how to make it, there is a tutorial on YouTube, or there are tutorials which will show you step by step how to go about the making of the sleeves. So guys, having finished up the making of this sleeve, this is what I have it to be looking like. Now the next thing is to go ahead to attach this to the armhole of the dress that we're working on. So guys, before attaching your sleeves, do make sure to weave around the armhole of the sleeve. Now after attaching it, the next thing I'll go ahead to do is to shape this all the way to the bottom using my client's measurement. I actually left 1 inch. I'll be taking 1 inch from the both sides. Having closed the both sides, this is what I have it looking like. Now guys, just to note, I later went ahead to adjust the longer side because it was too long, so I adjusted this to 6 inches instead of 8 inches where the hip length actually stopped. So also, before you cut your down, if you would like to adjust it, can go ahead to adjust it now and then also adjust it on paper. With that being said, let's go ahead to cut out the lower parts. So guys, remember that I'm working with 3 yards of Ankara fabric. I'll just go ahead to fold these 3 yards into 2, so I'll be having roughly 1.5 yards each. If you're working with 4 yards, yours is going to be 2 yards each. Having made my fold, the next thing I'll go ahead to do is to close up this area with 1/2 inch and also to weave it all the way to the bottom. Having joined it, this is what I have it looking like. Now the next thing I'll go ahead to do is to fold this into 4 and make notches. So I'm going to be notching this at 4 different points using the place that we joined as my guide. So this place that we joined earlier is going to be joined to the back. That is the zipper area of the dress. At this point, after making my notches, the next thing I had to do was to align like where we joined it together. I aligned it to one of the notches, which is actually going to be the middle of the front, and then the other 2 notches are extended to the opposite sides. So this is just to help me to be able to know where I'm going to be placing my patterns. Now the next thing I just went ahead to do was to mark 1/2 inch all the way of this top area, so that when I place my paper, it is just going to be uniform. With my front pattern paper intact, the first thing I'll go ahead to do is to divide my waist measurement at this point, and I'll just go ahead to separate this to form 2 pieces. After doing this, the next thing I'll go ahead to do is to slash and spread on my pattern paper and also to number it. So guys, sincere apologies that I was not able to capture how I went about the slashing and spreading of this and also numbering of it. So numbering it is very, very important, and also my camera is bent this way. I did not actually know that it was not properly placed. So I'm just going to go ahead to place my pattern papers like this. I cut out 7 pieces and I'll be giving an interval of 5 inches throughout. So guys, when I place one, I'm just going to measure 5 and I'll just place the second one and like that. So guys, that's how I'll just go ahead to place this all the way way to the other side. Remember that this is from the waistline, okay? This is from the waistline that I'm placing all these patterns. Now guys, when placing these patterns, you should be very, very careful, because if like when you should know that by the time the actual fabric is facing the front side, and then the actual fabric of the Ankara too is facing the front side, which is this lower part, they must be able to like align together. The asymmetric, they must both align together, like the shorter place for the shorter and the longer one for the, like, you get. So you just make sure that it is well aligned before you go ahead to place your patterns. Make sure that that is well correctly
Now guys, with all of that being done, the next thing I went ahead to do was to use my chalk to begin to be marking out the points where these patterns are. So I just began marking these points, and I took it all the way to the other side. Once that was done, I decided to take away all the pattern papers, and then I used my hand to connect these lines together. So this is what it's looking like right now. So guys, this is a proper view of what it's looking like right now. Can you see the dark curve effect? Yes. So yours too should be looking like this. Now the next thing I went ahead to do was to determine the full length of this dress. Now you know that my half length is I worked the half length of 60 inches. I'll just go ahead to fold this wrapper into 4, knowing that I took half an inch away from the top region. From that point, I'll just go ahead to subtract 16 inches and then measure all the way to 55 inches, which is actually the full length of this dress. And then for the full length, before I cut it, I'm going to add extra 1 inch for joining allowance. Sorry, for folding allowance at the bottom. With all that being said and done, the next thing I'm going to do is to cut this out. After cutting that out, I also went ahead to open up my wrapper and then cut the upper part out with half an inch extra allowances, which is going to be used to join this to the upper part. Now the next thing to go ahead to do is to make and run a gather stitch all the way around. Having drawn my threads, can you see the shape coming to life? So yeah, this is it. Now the next thing I'll just go ahead to do is to join this to the upper part of my dress with half an inch all the way around, making sure that the both back pieces are well aligned together before I now take this all the way around. So guys, after joining them both together, this is what I have it looking like. Can you see? It's very beautiful and seamless. Now the next thing you just go ahead to do is to open it up on the inside and then just weave around where we just made our stitch. So I've gone ahead to do mine. Then proceed to fold the lower end of the dress and make a stitch around. So guys, this is what the dress is looking like basically. So I've gone ahead to fold the hem, and that'll be all for this tutorial. If you found it helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and also subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching this far, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.